G'day everyone and welcome back to the Hardball Gets AFL show made possible by the Mazda BT50. You do ute. Today we kick around 6 points ahead of round 18. That's right, it's round 18 already. There's plenty to get through, so let's get straight into it. It is the Hardball Gets AFL show. My name's Chris Robinson, joined by Jackson Barrett and Xavier Ellis today. How are we, guys? Happy Wednesday.
Hello, friends.
Oh, good as gold. New golf sticks in the bag. So
Yes.
I just got no friends to play with.
Just because Rhino's not here, they got a good plug on Instagram this morning. Were they like a free of charge
No.
arrangement?
I don't get anything for free. Not
I just
full,
thought,
not full, but
I just thought with no Rhino, I should.
no, I appreciate that, but no. A mate of mine's close friend is a pro, fitted me up, gave me a bit of a haircut, and bang, away we go.
You're going straight out after this?
I don't have anyone to play with. I need a membership. I'm
need
going to
someone
go
to play with.
I'm going to get a cot today, and I'm going to put in my. I think you got to put in like a submission to be on the list.
Okay.
So I'm going to do that. I think it's like 2 years wait. So by then I'll be moved on to, I don't know, playing lawn bowls.
Is there a character clause in that? Do you have to sit in front of a panel?
You have to have like 5 people to second it and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
But I know I'm all right in that department. I just got to get my name on the paper.
Okay.
Tell you what, if I start playing golf, there's every chance I just give up on life. I don't work. And you're paying for everything. I'm out on the golf course. Oh, it's a dream.
But you got to be heading down to Royal Wembley this afternoon, just to the driving range, surely. Just smack a few balls off while you're looking at the.
I don't like going off the mat.
Tall buildings there.
Because I've got
Okay.
Because I've got farm boy strength. I need to take a bit of a divot, and like hitting off the mat's no good for
There's
me.
plenty of divots that have been taken out of those Wembley mats over the years. They're starting to the toll's starting to show a little bit with some of them.
Last time I was at the Wembley driving range, it was stupid. Like it's a great setup, but the tee was so flimsy, it would like wobble around in circles and shit before you whacked it. And you're like, hang on, this is like baseball now.
Sometimes the breeze comes back up the range as well.
Yeah, I'm horrible at golf. I don't need a moving ball. Anyway,
might as well play cricket.
I'll be down. The handicap this time next year will be down to.
What is it now?
I don't have one.
So 27.
I think it's 36. Yeah,
36. Okay. Right.
It'll be down to 12.
Down to 12 this time next year?
Yep.
Jeez, this is some good
Michaela's
sticks.
just written that down as well. So
No, it'll be down to 12.
Producer
All right,
Michaela
brilliant.
takes notes on everything.
Yeah.
And she keeps receipts. And so
Yeah.
this time of the year, July 12.
I'm the
we'll
Perth
check in.
version of Bubba Watson. Very crafty, left-hander.
Better hair.
Don't take the easy option. Over trees, houses, sometimes not
Oh,
deliberately.
you left-hander?
Yeah.
Oh, so you need the left-handed base at Royal Wembley.
And that's also
They're in
hard
short
because someone can
supply
face you at times. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Fascinating. Well, good luck with
There's
that.
some sort of discrimination against left-handers.
Well,
Sex,
there's only 6 or
race,
7
religion, and
left-handed
left-handers.
golfers.
David Warner has copped a lot of criticism in the past few days.
Well, he can't find the middle of the bat. That's fair enough. I tell you, who should be under the pump.
I think you're hitting him better than David Warner at the moment. With your golf
Actually,
sticks.
maybe Dave Warner needs a net session at the Wembley driving range. And if he can hit a golf ball off that tee, he's going to make 100. Tell you who also should be under the pump.
Yeah.
Marnus.
100%.
Marnus
Have you
has
seen
had
his last 21
very,
innings?
very
Yeah,
poor
2 half centuries.
patch.
Yeah.
He's been pox.
That shot in the second innings was disgusting.
Yeah, someone said that, when you think about it, the game spun when Smith and Marnus.
In 10 minutes, right? And to mow in Ali. So that shot he played, that slog sweep, he's played that 6 times in his test career and he's been caught on 3 of them.
Yeah, probably time to shelve that one, I reckon.
Imagine
That's
that
a
next
back pocket shot.
Next time the Aussies are in Perth, I've got all 11 up at the driving range. Yeah, come on, boys.
David Warner off
Time
the
to get us
moving
back in a
tees.
bit of form. All right.
All right, should we get stuck into it? I'll lead us off with the big talking point of the week. Obviously, Stuart Dew, his dismissal. Listen to our pod 48 hours ago on Monday morning. You guys
We thought he'd
were
stay.
pretty confident
Yeah.
that he was going to last. And
I think I
then,
went 85-15 in the end.
yeah, and then literally the next morning, Gonski.
That's an all-time dicking.
Yeah, what did you make of it, and what did you make of the Mark Evans and Bob East press conference, their explanations?
Whenever I
Were
see,
you satisfied? Are you satisfied that this is a club that's on the path to success?
I'll ask a different question, Jacko. What do you think when you see a businessman with the long wavy hair
I think sort of like Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, 100%.
He had the shirt unbuttoned. Is there a couple of buttons gone from the top of the shirt?
The Barkley
as well?
button wasn't there. The Barkley button was gone.
But also,
Yeah.
there's nothing like a coach being sacked and a chairman you've actually never heard of being rolled out. Like I couldn't have told you who he was.
Am I right in saying he was overseas holidaying?
Until Sunday, I believe.
So
yeah.
they hung Dewey out to do that press conference where Mark Evans backed him so the chairman could holiday.
So this
Am
is,
I right in saying that?
So this is the thing that gets me, right?
I think so, yeah.
When Caro goes live with that story, there has to be at least some smoke there.
Well, Dewey, we were fooled in our Monday podcast, but Dewey saw more than smoke.
But he came out and told Mark Robinson that he was fine and they hadn't had any conversations of the sort, and then they back him in a press conference.
Yeah,
So
no, but he
it's
still knew. He still apparently knew that those reports were right.
Okay.
And he wasn't pissed at Caro. He was pissed at whoever is leaking.
The leak, yeah, okay.
Yeah. It's always telling as well when there's never a nice way for these things to happen, but when the coach isn't present or made available for any kind of media with these things, and we're 24 hours after the fact now, and we haven't heard from Stuart Dew, so it's fair to say he's not too happy.
He was invited to the presser and just said, leave me out of that.
Did that Mark Evans press conference last week have to happen? Like, could they let that blow over, given that
that's what I'm saying. Surely the chairman, who's sunning himself, goes, hey, Dougie, or Mark, let's not do a presser. Let's just see if those reports didn't come from us.
Yeah.
Or didn't come from me or whatever.
Yeah.
But to have a full-blown presser where Dewey sat up there and knowing that they're going to get sacked the day he returns from his holiday, I felt a bit sorry for Dewey.
You dare say that's something that the sacking, obviously, he's not happy with, but you dare say that's something that Stuart Dew wouldn't have been happy with.
100%.
The way that past sort of 10 days was handled.
That's what I would have thought.
So do you think they have it figured out? Were you convinced by the press conference yesterday? Because the overwhelming feedback, certainly in my Twitter timeline and the people I was talking to, was, I'm not sure these guys have got this quite figured out.
I know Mark Evans well. He was footy manager at Hawthorn for a long period. Good guy, no dramas there.
Yep.
I don't know the chairman at all. Do you look at that list and go, they've got a superstar? Or have they got an All-Australian player on that list?
I mean, they don't right now, but they haven't, like you guys have said, they haven't had a run at it. Between missing Witts and Took and King over the past 3 seasons, that's just about the three most important guys.
But even
that list,
keeping
right?
that right now, going forward, so next year, the year after, you got any there? Like, so for example, you look at Collingwood and go, well, Nick Dacos, Darcy Moore, those guys are certainly going. They're all Australian players every year.
Yeah.
Christian Petrarca, all of all Australian players every year. Gorn or whatever. Is there a player that you look at and go, I'd be surprised if Noah Anderson was an All-Australian player.
You'd be surprised if he was?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be.
He's a good player.
He's not going to be that, lock it in every year.
I don't think he's the best midfielder in a good team. I think he's a good midfielder. I don't think he's the best midfielder in a good team. And I'm a Noah Anderson fan. I think Rao's a third or fourth midfielder in a good team, not a second. I don't know. I'm just look at it and go, gee whiz, I hope that they have a reasonable understanding on the list. And it's almost a semi-rebuild. They're bringing in 3 kids again.
Rao's never going to be like you say, like the franchise midfielder.
He's a Jack Viney.
Yeah.
Third workhorse.
Yeah.
Will play big games. I had him in the Australian team earlier, but that sort of just fizzled out a little bit. But yeah, in a grand final, he could have 25 touches, 20 contested, 10 clearances. You go, oh, wow.
Hit some bodies.
But, I'm not penciling him in for that.
Yeah, but between Witts, Took, Rao and Anderson, that can be a finals midfield. That four right there. That can be a finals worthy midfield.
Yeah, what are we
but
getting
they also
from Touk
need
Miller
some
now?
depth around it, though.
I think we've seen the best of Touk Miller.
Potentially, yeah.
And I think we've seen the best of Witts too.
Well, this is going to be the challenge for the next guy who takes.
That's
on
what
the
I mean. They're getting. I think Jordan Lewis said something along the lines of, and I only fleetingly caught this on radio. It was like they have the 4th youngest list. Well, no, it's something like they've got a top end experience, bottom end rookies, but nothing in between or whatever it was, that just to show the gaping hole of talent or whatever. I can't remember what it was.
It feels like,
but it was the list.
Right.
The list demo's out of whack. However, they want it to be designed to be good. It's not in the right order, and I don't know what do they do with these kids that come in.
Yeah, well, that's the question for the next coach. If we want to blow the siren and roll into your point,
so
because Damien Hardwick is paying about $1.30 to take on this role.
You'll give me $1.30.
That's what Sportsbet was giving yesterday.
Is it really?
Yeah. That might have been crunched since I looked at it last, but that's what it was.
It's all 30s, overs.
Better than bank
Overs.
interest.
Hey, so I think we all think Damien Hardwick. Mm-hmm. So I was sitting around last night and the comment was made on one of the shows, the modern day great coach, greatest coach, Damien Hardwick's there. So, and they made a good point. You got a coach you're unsure about, and then there's Damien Hardwick, who's a modern day great. Mm-hmm. So you can sort of see what they've done.
Yeah.
And I just did a little bit of, remember the Damien Hardwick 2016 year, is he going to sack him? Is he going to be sacked? Finished 13th. So I jumped on Twitter last night and tweeted it, but I wanted to do a little bit of a dig and see how dire was it at the end of that little frame and how lucky he was to keep his job.
Yep.
He played finals the 3 years prior, but hadn't got over the line. They hadn't won a final. So this is round 18, they lost to Hawthorn by 70. Round 19, they lost to GWS by 88. Round 21, they lost to Geelong by 4. Round 22, they lost to St Kilda by 9. Round 23, they lost to Sydney by 113 points.
Yeah.
So 3 losses in those last 5 losses over 70. They must have had those meetings about, what do we do? And they ended up moving the assistants on, bringing in new people around it, da-da-da. And now we're talking about Damien Hardwick, who is a walk-up great to have people sacked halfway through the year. Imagine if Richmond had gone, nah, you got us to the finals after 157 games as coach. We've seen enough.
Need something different.
We need something different. That's 7 years or whatever it was. Instead, they backed him in, and now the clubs are salivating over him. He's going to take a job of someone who got sacked halfway through whilst holidaying in Europe.
It's a big sliding doors moment, isn't it?
Massive sliding doors moment.
Especially with that last one. What was the number? The Sydney one?
113 points.
To have that as the last one, like the last taste in your mouth.
Yeah.
Like,
and to go and win the grand final after that is outrageous.
Remember at the time they had that board spill?
Correct. It was all happening.
Focus on football.
Hitting the fan.
Yeah, it was all happening. It's just madness. And with the Damien Hardwick to Gold Coast, what's his name? List manager Cameron is up there.
Yeah.
From Richmond.
Yeah. Keep talking,
and Wayne Campbell's up there as well. But do you know Wayne Campbell doesn't actually live on the Gold Coast?
FIFO.
He lives in Sydney.
Yeah, right.
And I was saying last night, well, I reckon to start with your footy manager probably Craig Cameron, of course.
Oh, that's right.
So Craig Cameron was at Richmond when Dimma was there. So was obviously Wayne Campbell there at the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
I wonder how that dynamic's going to, that sort of relationships, where did they part ways happily, or was there a thank you but no thank you? Good luck on the Gold Coast. You've done. Oh, I can't wait to see how it all unfolds and what Dimma brings with him.
Hey, that's the question I'm interested in. I think it was floated on Twitter by some probably slightly concerned Richmond fans, but does he pull any stars up with him? Brandon Ellis is already up there.
Yeah, but the Brandon Ellis story is great.
Yeah.
He grew up in the community housing and all that sort of stuff, and I think he presented his contract, and they're like, mate, off you go.
Let's do it.
And he openly was like, I can now afford to pay for A, B, and C for people. It was great.
Yeah.
Who would Richmond be scared of losing?
Well,
Bolton? That'd be about the only one.
I don't think Bolton's going up there, is he?
That's what I mean. Dusty, if Dusty went, clears the books.
Does that feel like a bit of a no-brainer now?
Well, but I don't think Richmond kick and scream too much. What do you get for him?
Depends what you get for him.
Yeah. What is he now?
He's playing bloody good footy.
Is he
really good footy. But
is he still a first rounder?
He would be to a contender, I would have thought.
Yeah.
If who's a contender that needs a bit of spark?
But there's a question as well in terms of the Gold Coast and staying/becoming relevant. Do they pay overs in order to grab a bumps on seats
it's the Gary
kind of
Ablett.
guy?
It's the Gary Ablett type, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you sacrifice a bit of your future to do that?
But Dusty Martin 12 months ago, I think we thought there was a pretty serious decline, didn't we?
Yeah.
And now he's back playing brilliantly.
The counter there is that, like we've already spoken about, their list demo and the problems that they've got there. And if they're only going to get 2 years out of Dusty, he's not the guy to move into a Luke Hodge coaching role.
Might be a bit of a trap, I reckon. Yeah.
He's 32. Well, Bud's moving to the Gold Coast. Maybe they get Bud down.
Just get him to play 6 games a year.
Have you seen the house that Franklin's bought on the Gold Coast? Google it.
Just a little 2x1.
Actually, I'll get it up right now.
Okay, get it up, Jacko. Let's move on to your
I'm sure it's pretty quaint. I want to talk about this Tom Barrass trade. So it's obviously grown legs a little bit with Sydney in the mix. Mm-hmm. And I've always been with Tom Barrass that he's one of 2 or 3 absolute lock it in. This is Lance Franklin's house. That is fairly incredible.
Dave is showing us Lance Franklin's house.
That's like Italian coast.
It looks
sort
a
of
bit better than
gear.
my house.
How crazy is it? I remember seeing on that is the full.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's like a resort.
That is a resort.
It's like a mini
It
resort.
looks a lot like my Vic Park apartment.
That's
garage.
amazing. Anyway, sorry, I had to get it up. I've seen it on the social.
That's the kind of house Tom Barrass can get if he
Yeah,
goes to
if
Sydney.
he goes to Sydney.
Yeah. No, he'll get a little shit box in Sydney.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
Sydney's a bit different.
I've always been very like he's one of their pillars with Alan and maybe Tim Kelly, and you have to build around your pillars. But if they were to get Sydney's pick's likely to land at about 6, and the word is that Sydney's not super keen to give that up. But if they brought in pick 6, then allows them to. It's like a free hit at Harley Reid, right? Because you don't need to worry about splitting the picks. You get in the best player in the draft, and then you get the best WA player in the draft at 6, a bit like they did last year. I'm moving towards being a bit more open about this Tom Barrass deal.
So someone hit me up on socials to say, can you talk to me about the Barrass deal? So Tommy's got 4 years left, I think.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we need some experience down there. They're getting pumped by 100 points with it.
Yeah.
So if they lose by 100 without it in a draft pick, what does it matter?
And you get a couple of years out of McGovern still, and you've got premiership defender like Duggan and Cole and those guys to bring that bit of experience.
But I don't think it matters. Like, they are so bottom of the basement. Any player, if any player came to me, like Liam Duggan would be a good player on a good team
Yeah.
again. I don't, and I'm not saying trade Duggan, of course, but like if someone randomly said, "Oh, I know we haven't spoken about Liam Duggan, but would you take pick 20 for him?"
Yeah.
You go, oh, yes,
Yeah.
like yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think any player's off the table at all
Would you do it?
for pick 6. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm moving towards that because
I don't think they'll give pick 6. I would have thought Tom
That's
Barrass
gonna
was
be the
pick,
issue,
pick
right?
10.
Yeah.
If West Coast pay part of his deal, maybe getting towards pick
think
6.
that's
But if they're
part of
not,
the
he's a
talk.
pick 18er. I
Yeah.
would have thought.
Okay. I just think if you were to get the best, let's say Dan Curtin falls to number 6, plays at both ends, key positions, so he's a little like for like. I'd say AFL clubs are more interested in him down back because that's where WA has been playing him in the championship, so they're showcasing him down there, whereas Claremont are itching to play him up forward. So it's a little bit like for like. It's your freebie at Reed. It's like your protection for Reed because you still get another kid that's coming through at that age. So I'm the same. I think I'd do it if 6 is on the table, but you
if 6
probably
on the
have
table,
to
definitely.
hand
Yeah.
some money over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think we spoke about that with Elliot Yeo, for example. I think Adelaide would be a perfect team for Yoey. And it just depends. He's back ended his contract. If West Coast say, hey, we'll pay 500 of it,
Yeah.
Sure.
well, maybe Adelaide go, here's pick 13. If they say we're not paying a cent, then they go, well, here's pick 20.
And that
do you know what I
works.
mean?
That would be a nice piece for Adelaide.
But
Wow.
imagine under the pump, Jordan
played some
Dawson.
good games at Adelaide
Jordan
Oval as well.
Dawson
Dawson-
can go back if
Yeah.
you need. Jordan Dawson can go midfield. Yoey, home crowd, Adelaide Oval.
That's a really nice piece for Adelaide. like it.
And it's not a bad sort of financially for West Coast, I feel, because they're not going to be paying those young guys.
They have to
a heap
pay
of money right now.
someone.
Yeah.
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 And no one's getting a pay rise.
That's it. Speaking of West Coast and speaking of fan-submitted questions, I've got one here from my mate Cal, who's a long-time listener, first-time caller. We wanted to know how clubs perform the week after pantsing West Coast, basically.
Oh,
so all
nice.
these teams that have been beating up on West Coast, how do they actually go the game after that?
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's quite interesting. So
I'm looking forward to this.
So teams who have beaten West Coast by 10 goals plus this year, so
Yeah.
60 plus, the real kind of, training drill type of games, how do they go the week after? Let's go through them. So Adelaide beaten by 122, lost to Collingwood the week after. No shame in losing to Collingwood.
And in a thriller too.
That was a good game.
By 2
Yeah.
points, yep. Collingwood beat West Coast by 63, lost the week after in the in the King's birthday, I should say, to Melbourne. Again, not by much. Gold Coast beat West Coast by 70, lost the week after. Carlton's big 108-point win over here, lost the week after.
And probably for the 5 weeks after that as
Yeah,
well.
yes, that's right. That's right.
And there's a new trend off that. How did Carlton go after they played so-and-so? They lost.
Yeah, pretty much. Melbourne beat West Coast by 63 earlier in the year, lost the week after to Essendon. And then Sydney, after the 171-point one, drew with Geelong. The one exception has been Hawthorn.
Of course.
If you can believe that.
They level-headed young men down at Waverley.
Off that 116-point win, they upset St Kilda on that
And
Saturday.
then they
the week
rolled Brisbane the week after,
Yeah.
didn't they?
So it's happened now. The Brisbane one that happened last weekend, that's the 8th time it's happened this season.
Yeah.
Only one club has backed it up the week after that, the week after belting West Coast.
I feel like you need to tweet that.
I might do.
Yeah.
So that's a watch for Brisbane this Friday night against Melbourne at the G, and of course we know Brisbane at the G has been a massive liability.
Well, I'm back in Brisbane, but now I'm nervous.
Yeah, I think I like him as well. But I mean, in terms of the mindset, like Zave, after a massive training drill kind of win.
So I reckon
does
the
that
biggest
have any
sprays
kind of
Clark used to go off his head in 100-point wins.
Because of just one or two things where
Just
he didn't
took
like.
a piss, saw something he didn't like.
Yeah.
But you try your guts out and lose.
Yeah.
Not couldn't care, but it was like tip your hat sort of theory that he used to have. But if you pumped the side but took the piss, good luck. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that record's starting to become something where it's like if you belt West Coast and it, as I say, the real sort of training drill game.
If you don't tweet it, I might.
Yeah, well, you can have it, mate. I can toss a couple of these things for you. It's a bit of a watch on them this week, but a really interesting Melbourne-Brisbane game. Obviously, no Clary. Dunkley's still out. Brisbane.
I couldn't back Brisbane at the G.
I am.
I need to see them beat someone at the G.
I'm
first.
in, and they'll win.
They can't beat Hawthorn
Melbourne,
at the G, man.
But they beat Melbourne at the G in the final last year.
Yeah, I'll fight you.
Dare you speak about it? Hawthorn like that.
Wish you guys could just get along when you're in the pod together. They knocked off Melbourne at the G in the semi-final last year.
True.
Yeah.
By a couple of goals. So we have seen it, but not too often. Yeah. It's going to be a good game on Friday night. But yeah, massive watch on Brisbane and any other team for the rest of the season who pants West Coast, what they look like the week after.
Now, I saw something kicking around on Twitter yesterday. So some of the free agents now are starting to get named and whatnot. Ben Mackay.
Yep.
There's a lot of talk around him leaving North Melbourne. Money offers around $800,000.
Yep.
Free agent moves. What does that equal for North Melbourne in return?
For late first round, isn't it?
I think it follows your first round pick.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they have pick 2.
Yeah.
So it becomes pick 3.
True.
So would you package up 2 and 3 to get 1 to get Harley Reid? That's what the North Melbourne supporters were saying. Would you package up 2, 3 for 1 grab Harley Reid in Melbourne?
To stay or does he want to leave?
No, I think
the talk is that Port Adelaide are the front runners and that he's leaning towards.
Otherwise, he would have signed one.
I don't know. He's a pretty key piece, right? He's one of these guys who
Harley Reid?
No, Mackay.
So you'd keep Mackay. Would you pay the 8?
I mean, not if he wants. If he really wants out, then you don't. But if you're North Melbourne, how
you'd pay
long
the
can
8?
you keep rebuilding for? You're like, oh no, let's just go back to the well.
What about a midfield of Sheasel, Wardlaw, Reid?
LDU.
I'm getting frizzled up right now thinking about it.
But then giving up 140 points every week because you got no defenders. Griffin Logue's just done his ACL.
Yeah, that's a bit of a twister.
You're putting a lot of faith in Aiden Core back there and Zeeble and Aaron Hall to have 45 kicks between them every game.
So I don't reckon Zeeble or Aaron Hall will be there next year.
Aaron Hall certainly won't.
Zeeble getting dropped was a interesting
and Goldie as well. Goldie got the arse.
Yeah, Goldie was more predictable with
no, of course, but I mean, I think that was the first time we saw the turn. The first turn of, hang on, they're moving on.
Yeah, I don't know.
So you'd pay the 800?
I think if
a lot of money to pay for a back shoulder fullback.
It is, but
who
also
hasn't played a lot of footy?
But they've got money over the next few years, right? Who else are they paying?
Hasn't played a lot of
other
footy.
than LDU.
Hasn't played any footy.
Who's that?
Mackay.
Oh, he's been. Yeah, he's been.
How many games he's played in 8 years?
Still hasn't played his brother, which is just fueling those twin rumours. Just amazing. Yeah, I think it's going to come down to his attitude. Is how I'd see it. If he wants to go, then you'd push.
So
him
if he wants to stay, you'll
keep
keep him paying 800 plus.
Maybe a fraction lower than that. If you can swing it.
In 8 years, he's played 12 games this year.
Has he been there 8 years?
Yeah, so he's free agent.
I had it in my mind as 6 or 7. Yeah, okay. Okay.
1 game in 17, 3 in 19, 11 in 20, 22 in 21, 15 in 22, and 12 this year.
Been all right. I just like the idea of between him and Larky, you've got these pillars that are in place that are hard to put in place.
It's like the Barrass thing, right? But they're not quite as low. If he goes to Port Adelaide, that's a really nice piece for Port Adelaide.
Of course.
And that's a serious backline.
Of course. That's Tom Jonas in trouble.
Tom Jonas is in trouble without him.
So what are you doing? Are you paying the 800?
Oh, it's a lot of money.
A lot of money.
I think I'm...
But
I
they
think I'll let him
haven't,
go.
And what are you going to do with pick 3?
Oh, if you get pick 3, you have a dip at Reid.
Package 2 and 3.
So.
Right.
Pay the
You need a
800
bit more.
and just front end it because there's who else are they paying in that squad for the next year or two? Like who's on big money?
My mate Liam Shields. who I didn't even know was at
tag.
North Melbourne until I was doing my fantasy.
What's Darcy Tucker on?
Did you ever told you that?
What's that? You
So
didn't
Liam
realise he
Shields.
was on the team.
I was at Rotto. I must have been at Rotto. I rang him. I spoke to him like 3 times. How's retirement? What are you doing? What are you up to? And never once told me he was at North. And I must have been phoned off for the week. And I was doing my AFL fantasy side in January.
Yeah.
And Liam Shields popped up. I was like, this is a mistake. I rang him and said, mate, are you in North Melbourne?
That's great.
The 4 conversations we've had. Sorry about that.
There was a bit of buzz yesterday around Damien Hardwick and like some of the conversations he might be having with players when he goes up, if and when he goes up to Gold Coast, just saying, "Oh, Rory Atkins, what are you doing?"
Yeah.
If he sees Sam Day, he's kind of like, "Oh, it's good to have some inaugural players come back to the club." Wait, you're still on the list?
Yeah.
What?
It's like when they bought Stewie Dew into Hawthorn. I still remember when Clarko brought him in at a meeting. I was in a cafe and I just randomly saw us. Oh, Dewey's about to coach. That's pretty cool. With pick, Stewie
No, I'm
Dew.
going to lift you to a premiership, mate. Yeah.
Rory Atkins was a proud member of my fantasy team for about 5 weeks. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Yeah.
So I don't
Yeah.
forget Rory.
He's a good
Atkins.
fella. He's a good
Apologies.
fella, I think.
Apologies.
Yeah.
That's a drop off. He was good that grand final year.
He's pretty good. Not 4 years or 5 years.
No,
or
there was
I
a
think it was 5, yeah.
rank
Gosh.
deal.
Yikes. Blow this up.
Obviously, a bit of talk about Freo's midfield this week, beaten up around the ball. I wonder, do we have an over-obsession with getting young midfielders into the midfield straight away? And would someone like a Matt Johnson be better served doing his time at half forward or on a wing? Because watching him on the weekend, it was his hands aren't clean enough, caught in possession, tackles don't stick. And I just wonder if someone like a James Aish spending more time in there, Freo would be better served with that. And not every first-year player, I don't feel every first-year player has to come in
With
and
Matt
be a
Johnson, his
midfielder
third
straight
year?
away. His second year, but he made his debut in round 1. But I had him pegged for this vacant wing role at Fremantle, not this immediate David Mundy thing.
Well, it depends, I think, what they think of Freo in terms of their season. If you've given up on your season, which I think we all say they're not going to make finals, don't we?
Now we
Yeah.
are, yeah.
But they hadn't on Sunday, yeah.
I thought they weren't going to make
Well, the
finals.
Western Bulldogs one, he was in the midfield at the crucial centre bounce where
Yeah.
they lost 4 clearances in a row. They had to turn it around.
But so was
and
the
he
ruck.
was
Who
there.
was rucking?
Well, Jackson was sore.
Yeah, so
It's come out
Tracy was
later.
rucking.
So Tracy was rucking.
Yeah.
So the do or die, Tracy was in there.
I guess that Dogs game as well, that was Aisha's first game back.
True.
After what did he miss? A couple?
Yeah,
So,
I would leave Aish out and
Okay.
develop the kid.
I just think, can't kids develop playing 30 or 40 games at half forward or on a
You
wing?
can lose confidence though if you're only getting like Freddie's had 7 touches last month.
Yeah.
It's a hard spot.
Especially that is a hard spot. The half forward sort of dead
Yeah.
role is hard. But I don't know. I had him pegged for a wing role. Still don't think they've figured that out. Liam Henry's had a good
Well, if you
couple
think he's
of
a
weeks,
wingman,
but-
then I'd put him on the wing.
But you can't have 30 games as a wingman and move inside.
What do you think he's going to play at the end of his career?
Inside.
Yeah, I'd start him inside.
Okay.
Liam Henry's never going to be inside, so leave him.
Okay. I think they're losing out at the moment.
Yeah,
And certainly on Saturday.
I thought there was nothing
Or
wrong with
Sunday.
seeing Carl Warner fumble everything as well.
Yeah.
You got to find out how hard it is, and then you go away and get better. Like Matt Johnson, he got subbed off on the weekend, or Erasmus.
He did.
Yeah,
Johnson did, yeah.
Johnson.
I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, it's a real reality check. So, when the 15th of every month, when you're getting paid a shitload, you're still going, right, I've just got to get better. It's as simple
Yeah.
as that. Yeah.
It was interesting. Jager's CBA numbers took a bit of a dive on Sunday as well. He was down at 40, where are we? 43%. He's been going at about 60
What
So
was,
here's
what
the
was he
other
the
one.
first bit of the game?
for the first bit.
Yeah.
Oh, I've just got the total
So I wouldn't mind knowing once the scoreboard
Blew
blew
started
out what
to
they
blow
decided. Yeah.
Well, Johnson got subbed, so suggest Jager was more in the
But
second half.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like that they had a look at Warner. I called his debut for Peel and thought he was a really nice, he's
No.
quick. So it wasn't super exciting, but I think there still might be something there.
Oh, I'm not out on it at all.
Yeah.
Like, you run around, have 8 touches or 7 touches or whatever, but made 4 mistakes, and the coaches go, right, mate, you were fumbly and
Yeah.
a bit of pressure got around you and you fumbled. Like, let's do A, B, and C to get you better, and he's done a calf now. But, like, I don't know. Sometimes you go through a debut and go, oh, that was okay. But, like, he's got obvious areas to improve. You just
Yeah.
got to be jittery.
Better
Like,
for the run. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you, Jacko, you're a Freo fan. What do you do with Brennan Cox having a rare miss out of that lineup this week? Is it Joel Hamling time? Do you
Yeah.
go smaller with Wilson? How do you see it?
I think it's Joel Hamling.
why are you playing 3 keys?
Well, the other thing is Collingwood, right? Like you're playing Collingwood, they've got the resting ruck, so it'll be like Cameron or Cox, and then Myercheck. So maybe for this week you do go smaller.
Luke Ryan's best year was undermanned.
I agree with this. I'm big on this. I think he needs to be playing more accountable.
All right, now it's time for
Hardball Bets. Thanks to the Tab Touch app.
Of course, brought to you by Tab Touch. Got the touch this AFL season. Better your bet with Tab Touch, and remember to gamble responsibly. Call Gamblers Help on 1-800-858-858. Jacko, I had a win last week.
Huge.
The drought is over. Celebrate good times. He was paying like $5.50 or $5.70 or
That's
something
all right.
like that. So
got to
I'm
land
back
the
on the
plane.
winners list, and I'm ready to make a run.
What have you got for us this week?
Definitely a losing bet after that. So I'm taking Brisbane. I'm going against my own stat. I'm taking Brisbane 1-39, multing it up with Collingwood to beat Freo, and then the under in the West Coast Richmond game, which is 173.5. That's paying $5.53. What have you got on behalf of the great Nick Rinn?
I am going.
A loser, probably.
Hopefully, so I can keep catching up.
I'm going Geelong to beat Essendon. And then I'm going GWS to get within 17.5 of Adelaide.
Okay.
Which, just let me...
Bag it all up, and it is paying.
Give me 2 seconds.
Just putting 100 on it right now, and you'll see what it is.
251.
Okay.
So it's just a...
And add Dimma to the coach next, and
land
away
it.
you go.
Lock it down. All right, we'll let you get out of here, guys. Thanks very much, and thanks also to our listeners and the Mazda BT50. You do ute. Enjoy your weekend of footy. Chat to you next week.